Alright, on to another round here of Merchant of Venus. Blue got themselves stuck in here trying to move down to the 4 area. Basically, this is a kind of dangerous and annoying place to get, but if they get a 1 or a 6, they can slip through around here. They have a red drive, so actually they can go this way with a 1 or a 6 as well. And this is cheaper because they don't have to hit that space because it's a red navigational hazard. For yellow, they managed to slip down into here and perform a big delivery, 220 bucks. And the reason I stopped is because we got the first one of these, a fare. This says if you pick this passenger up, you don't have to pay anything to do it. You can pick him up, deliver him, in this case, to Quassaw 10, wherever that ends up being. It could be right next door, and it gives you 120 bucks for half a cargo hold. Now this is really cool if there are a decent number of passengers up, or if you have equipment like this red drive filling your whole partway. It allows you to carry stuff that otherwise you might not be able to carry, which I find really bonus in the game. But if you don't have that drive, it takes a full space for anything else. Of course, it could still be a good delivery. $120 profit is pretty nice. You don't pay anything for them. And here's the other thing. You didn't pay anything for it. So it's very easy to just space these guys. You can find an asteroid or something and drop them off there. Pretty much anywhere where you're able to pick stuff up, you can get rid of your passengers. There might be a moral issue there, but I'm not worried about that. Alright, now what do we have here? We have the E-Peeps flew past here. Now they got to see some interesting things, some terrain that they don't like. But the other open port is here. That means they have no interest in building a spaceport. Now, Red is interested, and we'll hit them. And they flew over here to make the delivery they want. We get to Red. They sold one of their, I don't know, whatever it is. It's in the cup now, 7, 9, something. I think designer jeans, probably. They sold the other one of those here. They don't have a lot of money. I'm not sure why. Oh, they have plenty of money. I thought I only had 140. Yeah, I was curious why. So what they're going to do is pick up these 2 bionic perfumes for 160. I thought they were out of money, and they were seriously considering getting rid of the jump start. It's cool because you can declare to use it and be able to get someplace you wouldn't be able to get otherwise. So I don't like giving up that relic, but if it meant wasting a turn, not being able to haul a double load or whatever, well, these are worth it. This can fly right back here, but likewise, with a jump start, he might be able to get it to here easier. If he rolls a 4, he can jump into there and just deliver it with almost no question whatsoever, which may be a little bit easier than making it down here. This doesn't cost him anything because of his shield, so that's kind of nice. So I don't know which one you want to be in. Right now, the jumps only drop you into there. Anyway, Black's just continuing their flight, going back up here. They've got a mulch wine on board. They couldn't sell that anywhere nearby in this direction, but they can sell it up in 3, 4, 5, 6. They can sell it over here, I guess. They want to pick up another one, and they're going to drop those psychotic sculptures here. They could have dropped them here, but then what do they do from that? And, you know, you're just trying to decide, hey, I want to go someplace other people aren't messing with the markets as much. I'm more likely to get an advantage out of that if somebody else isn't playing in that area. If there are a couple of people playing in an area, you really don't want to be down there. Then over to green, well, he swung around and grabbed himself, hey, another relic, mulligan gear. This is kind of cool. I don't remember what it does. I think it allows you to re-roll, but I don't know how many dice. You can re-roll one of your dice immediately after you roll, but before you pick your pilot number. Basically, this will allow you to get more options in terms of your navigation numbers. But you could also say, hey, I rolled a 1, that sucks, and re-roll that just to get you more movement. So overall, it's a very cool little relic. Again, these guys, if you're short on money, it's good to sell them, but they tend to be well worth, you only make half price off them. So this would only get me $60 if I sell it somewhere. And I think they're worth more than that in general. So I don't like to get rid of them. Switch, Mulligan Gear, between those two, I've got a lot of flexibility for coping with these, with the clouds that I'm not far from, which is very, very pleasing. So I'm glad that I moved here instead of just doing my transaction. Usually, if you get, so here's the thing, so many of these asteroids are navigational hazards, and some of them are telegates and stuff like that. They're not terribly valuable to you to find, but the relics are so valuable that I like to explore for them. On the other hand, it may be better not to. Only do the exploration when you're not costing yourself a turn. This guy cost himself a turn by doing it, but did he or did he not? If he had hit here and it had been a navigational hazard or a telegate, he could turn around and go back. So it wasn't a full cost of a turn being guaranteed there. All right, onward. Yellow just sold, whatever it is, $220 worth of something or another, or something like that. Don't remember what. For their second part of this. Now, they had enough cash, they could have bought a space station and taken another turn to get 10% of their cash. I don't like doing that. I would rather buy the factory or something else at this point. Basically, unless I have the cash on hand, I don't want to waste the turn on it. But what I drew out as a replacement was some finest dust, and now that goes back here. And there's more of it in production and in play, so that, you know, the commodities don't completely drain through the course of the play. Only, it's just early in the game, you're likely not to draw a commodity. But as more and more commodities end up in the cup, more and more of them show back up. So there's always sort of a certain level of supply that remains. You got to figure out what to do with his money, though. White got a terrible roll, ended up stuck there, not able to land and make their deals. Red also failed to get their roll. They only rolled a 10 on 3 dice. That's, you know, right around average, but a little below. They made it to Titan's Tower, didn't have the extra movement point to go down here, so they landed here and picked up the EPEEP, left the autopilot behind that they had spotted. Nice find. So, you know, spending a movement point to grab that, no real harm there. That's really powerful with the jump start, since there is the Telegate 4. At any point in the, if I want to go there, to this location, I can do that by just jump starting in and saying, okay, and my autopilot gives me a 4, which means one of my dice is rolled as a 4 preset. Kind of nice options. And now the Wynnum found this. Didn't have enough movement to land after they did that. So they flew all the way around and landed at Jewelport. They had $200 on cash. This is the first time we're going to see this. They're going to buy a space station. They had more than one thing they wanted to do anyway, so they're blowing their $200 out of cash to build that. Then they'll be able to go up there and sell this for $250, and they get a $25 bonus because it's their space station as well. Then they can buy this for $20, and they get a $2 bonus because it's their space station. Nice little options there that allow you, once you start being able to invest. Now, this is also real money. They have $400 in the bank, essentially, because of the deeds they own. Remember, it's only to 4,000. Cash counts, but your cash can't work for you as much. So sometimes buying these deeds can get you better investment returns than a pile of cash that you can't load on. You can't buy enough commodities to load onto your ship. The one exception, of course, is if you can get some kind of humongous run with expensive stuff, like the Psychotic Sculptures, where you're hauling, a lot of material at once. You may well need a lot of cash to be able to do that with one big ship, like a 3 or 4 hold ship. But, usually you have enough cash to operate. You can actually choose your routes based on the cash you have on hand. Green was in the same position I think red was at one point. Sitting in this area, could have dropped it off whatever they had. I don't remember what it is again. Probably these servos. They slid down here instead, making the landing in this one because the follow-up from this space is better. Basically, yeah, if they could have landed right here, then they could buy that product and move somewhere else. But based on your die rolls, etc., you change your route. Just saying, I can do better because with these two 9s together, I get closer to a place where I can deliver them. And I also have this telegate. That doesn't help terribly much, but it might with the right rolls here. This guy has switch, so if he gets a 5 and a 3, he could jump in here using a 5 and then use a 3 to get there. That's a nice way to jump in and be able to sell stuff up here. And then he can work from that as his next option. Basically, it's try to turn your money around as quickly as possible and make cash off of it. In some cases, there's real bonuses where you have to worry about, a pile of these demands. But normally, you just want to see how quickly you can turn your money each time. Speaking of turning money, the Dell is kind of cool because they have a very low-valued commodity, but with a high multiplier. All right, so the other factor going for them is they have the type of industry that allows to build bigger ships. So for $240, I could buy a transport ship and then start filling it up with cheap stuff that I can deliver right next door. That's nice. I could also deliver it next door up here. That's very interesting. I want to do that. I want to upgrade my ship. So, I got plenty of money here. That's what I'm going to do. Now, this costs 60 and it has a trade-in of 30. The base cost of what I want, big question here, is, hey, it would be nice to get this huge freighter with 4 holds because I'm carrying such crap here. Now these are kind of painful, but I've got to drive and maybe I would get other things to go with it. But let's see. That would cost me $300. I have this money. I'm going to go with this. I don't usually like hauling these big things. What's my return route? I don't know. That's the problem. The return for this is I could make this run a couple of times, maybe. But what can I bring back if I do it? Could I bring back these 1s? That looks fairly likely. 2, 3, 4, that works. So I could just do this kind of triangular trade here. Now I miss out here, but I think that's worth it, and I think it makes sense to go for this. So this is going to cost me $300, but I get 30 off. So I now have a bigger ship for that 270. One of my holds is going to get that red drive. And I've taken the humongous ship because I also want to buy 4 finest dusts. That only cost me $40, but I make $40 per shot of it, which is pretty good. Again, I don't usually like doing that, but the circumstances here looked advantageous for it. Let's move on. Apeeps land here, sell their thing. They've got some interesting choices in mind here. They have enough cash to build a space station. They don't want to do that, except Spy Eye is becoming kind of less valuable. Now, here's the problem. I have $210. I could buy for $160 one of these. It would take $320 to get another. I only get $50 for this. Gate lock, that may be worth selling. Let's say I get 100 more. That would put me to $310. That's still $10 short of this. And I don't have a marker for this planet. I have a couple of them kicking around for some reason, which is kind of weird. Usually you want to turn those around pretty quickly. So I probably am just going to buy 1 psychotic sculpture, but maybe I want to do the factory and the special factory goods and stuff like that. Who knows? Over here with red, hey, I managed my landing. I've got bionic perfumes, and bonus of bonuses, there's chip for that, so I'm going to get $200 and 2 fresh draws. I can only sell 1 thing because I landed on planet. Got kind of lucky. It looks like I drew the same thing out. That happens sometimes with the chips, or maybe there's another one there, but I think there's only, well, there's a number of them for each thing, so there's a chance it might not be the same one. But I have another bionic perfume on board, so I'm going to make $200 again on my next turn. But here's the problem. If these had both been there beforehand, I would have gotten an extra 60 for that first one, and this one would still be sitting here. And around the horn once more, the Knicks had a very expensive decision, or a difficult decision to make. Basically, they have enough cash, they could buy a space station, but not much beyond that, so they don't want to do that as their jump start. For the factory, they couldn't buy the factory and the goods, so again, that doesn't sound tasty. So they went with a couple designer jeans and a shield. Now, part of this decision is based on what they have. Switch, and mulligan gear, they can try to jump through here. If they get a 5 and a 3, they can make it to area 2. Otherwise, they may shoot down this way, so they bought themselves a shield to bump through this and through some of the crap down here. But it's kind of a tricky thing because 9 has to go through 10, 11, or 10, 1, 2. It can't go through 4. So this 2 over here is the easiest thing if they get the right rolls. They have the dice to be able, they have some relics that help them do that. And just a bunch of thinking and everything. And now when it comes around to their turn again, no way I'll remember all that. And I'll probably just say, what the hell am I doing? Oh well. Up this one goes. I'm having trouble with one of the videos. It doesn't seem to be processing over on YouTube. I'm hoping I don't have to reload it.